Hey, what's going on, Scatterbrains? Thank you for coming back to another episode of Scatterbrains. See, my name is Travis, and I am here to review To Have and to Hold Charlotte Season 1, Episode 2. Three's a crowd. Yes, I'm a couple of days late. This show comes on at 10 o'clock on a Saturday. And usually at 10 o'clock on a Saturday, I'm in the bed. So we didn't watch it until yesterday. So I'm getting a chance to review it now. All right, so my wife told me I was smacking too much in the last video. So I'm going to try to watch out for that today. Try to keep my lip. Y'all know I got a juicy mouth. We done talked about this in other videos. I got a juicy mouth. My mouth produces a lot of saliva, and that may be a good or bad thing depending on who you are. But so this episode, for the most part, focused on the couple, the throuple that we did not meet last week. So let's talk about everybody else, and then we'll get to them last. Before I begin, I'll shout out Elaine, Christine, and Juliana. All three of them commented on the last videos, which I'm assuming they watched it. So appreciate them for commenting and watching. And Christine, I didn't say you were an Instagram model. I said you look like the typical Instagram model. I mean, anyway. All right, so this episode kind of picks up where last week's left off with the brunch for Yandrik. And people kind of just finding out about Divadi's. Is that the name for them? Divadi? I think that's what I called them. Divadi. Tayati. That's not her name. Tayati? Is that her name? What's her name? Hold on, y'all. Let me go back to my notes. Tayati. Okay, I'm right. Yeah. People finding out about Tayati and David nesting. So for those who haven't watched my other videos, I give every couple a nickname. It just keeps me from having to keep up with 13 or 11 different names. Have to swallow very carefully. All right, so Tayati, Elaine, and Ursula meet up at the Red Door, which is, a lingerie shop here in Charlotte. It's probably nationwide. But they meet there to try to find some sexy things for Tayati to try to spice the marriage up, because they believe, if it's spiced up, then, you probably wouldn't be nesting. However, Tayati, being a judge here in Mecklenburg County, she is not wanting to be seen in the store, despite the fact that national television, was recording the whole thing. But, that's neither here nor there. We're going to stay in the moment of, their cameras aren't there, so she doesn't want to be seen in the store. So they try on a couple of outfits. They have a good time. It's a nice enough scene, nothing too deep. Later on in the episode, the women and Peter go to the V-Spa, and the men go for cigars. So I guess we can pick up on that later, because I don't really think it's much to talk about. Yandrik didn't have anything going on this, Alandrik didn't have anything going on this episode. The Dinks did, though. When we see the Dinks earlier in this episode, Christine is at CrossFit and she meets up with Peter. We met Peter last week. He is a party planner, event planner. He plans parties, maybe. He planned Yandrik's brunch. So they meet up at CrossFit and, they're catching up. Christine says she thinks Elaine is the queen of Charlotte. And the biggest thing that I took away from that, because I don't want my reviews to turn into a play-by-play. If you really want to know what happened play-by-play, go watch the episode. The biggest thing that I take away from the Dinks in this episode is they still talk about the whole thing about them not having kids. Daryl, which is the man, his father comes to town, and his father talks about the fact they haven't given them any children. And, if anybody doesn't know by now, when you get married, the next question after where you honeymooning is when you going to start having kids. I don't know why people are so invasive and, intrusive. Intrusive is probably a better word. People are so intrusive on your relationship, but that's just the natural thing. People just expect you to get married and immediately have children. And if you've watched our infertility video, you know how much that can affect people. So his dad is asking when they're going to have a Daryl the third. But we also learned that the Dinks have a 48-hour rule, meaning that they don't go 48 hours without having sex with one another. Hey, if it floats the boat, let it continue to float. 48 hours, it seems like a major restriction, but within not having children, it's, doable. I get it, doable. Y'all see what I did there? Doable. Oh man, but yeah, he talks to his dad. Daryl is 37, and he's feeling like if he doesn't have a child within the next 3 years, it's just not gonna happen. And plenty of people have children later in life. It's different strokes for different folks. Get it? Strokes. I am on a roll. But yeah. So also in the episode, before we get to the new couple and the spa cigar stuff, Ursula goes to talk to Ty. I'm just gonna call her Ty. I don't know if that's her nickname, but that's gonna be her nickname from now on. She has a long name, so we're gonna stick with Ty. Ursula talks to Ty, and Ty is trying to figure out how Ursula kind of knew something was going on, because if you remember last week, Ursula started asking Davide questions about what's going on in the marriage, and as of last week, Elaine was the only person on the show that knew about it. So putting one and one together, we know that Elaine is the one who said something. So that is when Ursula asked Ty, does she know about the V-Spa? So that's what we'll get to later. So let's move on to the throuple couple that we met. I like the way that sounds, throuple couple. I still haven't decided a name for them. I'm thinking I'm going to stick with throuple. That's what I feel like I'm going to stick with. But that is Josh, Juliana, and Peter. So this is how this went. I have to follow my notes because it's a lot. It's a lot. I was about to start singing that song, but that, never mind. All right, so Josh and Juliana, they got married after 6 months. Now let me say this, because they may be watching this episode. I ain't trying to offend anybody with what I'm about to say about y'all, okay? This is just my opinion. It's not really worth much to y'all. Y'all on TV. And some of these facts may be out of order. But they got married after 6 months of dating, I think. They split. No. They dated for 6 months. They split. 6 days later, they found out she was pregnant with their first child. They have 2 children together, Angelina and Rosie. I'm not sure who's the oldest. But they're divorced now. Only thing is, Josh is now with a man who is Peter from last week. So you have Josh in the middle, you have Juliana and Peter, hence the name throuple, because it's 3 of them. And they're like a 2019 blended family. Hence, they got the nickname of the Modern Family, because apparently that's where we're headed. So, okay, the majority of the episode focused on the throuple and the dynamics of the relationship. And to put it simple, I don't understand it. Sexuality aside, I just don't get it. Because you have Josh and Juliana, who are now divorced. Josh is now dating somebody else, but they still have family events together, as in 3 adults and the 2 children. The 2 girls refer to Peter as Papi. And so they have mommy, daddy, Papi. I think they're Hispanic or Latino. I don't know which word is correct or which one is not offensive. Whichever one is not offensive, they're that. So you got mommy, daddy, and Papi. So Papi is Peter. Daddy is Josh. Mommy is Juliana, obviously. So Josh and Peter, I got to figure out how to break this down when I'm talking about them. Josh and the guys, they buy a house and they're moving into this new house, and Juliana comes by. She's like, we need more cowbell. So she's taking this cowbell and she's like ringing it all through the house. Like, I don't know, is that some kind of traditional thing? Like, is that a heritage thing? Like, what's the cowbell? I've heard of sage. I've heard of sage in your house, but I had not heard of cowbell in the house. Maybe we should have cowbelled up in here. But she's walking through the house, ringing the cowbell. I guess it's getting rid of the milk spirits or whatever. But the biggest thing is they have not set boundaries. And if there's one thing that I have learned in therapy, is that you need boundaries in all of your relationships. And they don't seem to have any. And boundaries are best set early on in a relationship. So for me, if I put myself in this situation somehow, and I am divorced and I've now moved on to somebody else, I will not be having this much meshing, in my life. I do believe that exes are an ex for a reason, but I totally get the co-parenting thing. And it could very well be that this may be something that works out for the betterment of the girls. I think they probably will benefit the most from the situation, whereas the adults are the ones with the headaches. Maybe I think it might benefit them the most. Because it's definitely not traditional at all. And it also makes me wonder, I think we all have to ask the question, was Josh gay when he married Juliana, or was he bisexual? Like, I just wonder what happened there, and did she know? How did it make her feel that she moved on with a man? I don't know if she said that in the episode. She might have stated how she felt about the fact that he moved on to a man, but I just wonder how that made her feel. And if it, because from people that I know where the person leaves them, not leaves them, but they split and the person ends up with somebody of the opposite sex, I think it causes some people to feel a certain way about themselves, to wonder if maybe I was never going to be enough because I don't have the part that you are with now, whatever. Y'all get what I'm saying? Am I making any sense? Am I making any sense? But y'all let me know. So one of the big issues that, that came up is they don't have boundaries. Juliana wants to still have, she obviously wants to have a relationship with the girls, which she will, but she wants to have like the blended family thing going on. And I think she talks to Ursula at some point, because Ursula and Clinton are in a blended situation. As I told you last week, they both have 2 girls, but they really need to stop, set clear boundaries for everybody. I don't think it's anything wrong with having time for mommy, daddy, poppy, and the girls. I don't think it's wrong with that. Anything is wrong with that, but I also understand where Peter is coming from, where he feels like sometimes he just wants us to be daddy, poppy, and the girl. He don't want mommy there, that's what he wants. So I think he's validated in that, because he's not with Juliana, he's with Josh. So he wants to have his time with their children. He calls the girls his girls, or his kids and stuff like that, which is cool, whatever. Because I think they've been together, Josh and Dallas. Who the hell is Dallas? Josh and, what's the name? Peter. Josh and Peter have been together for, I think, 7 years. I might be wrong. But at one point in the episode, the girls ask the mom, Peter, is his name Peter? Peter and Josh, PJ, we're going to stick with PJ, are PJ in a homosexual relationship? And Peter didn't feel it was right for her to explain or to have that conversation. They, I guess, had planned to all have that conversation. But my thing is, y'all been together how long? Y'all been together like 7 years and y'all ain't had that conversation yet? Y'all about 7 years too late to be worried about trying to explain it to the girls. But apparently they said that they were supposed to have this conversation when the girls were 6 and 5, but the girls are now 9 and 8. So, I mean, by my math, y'all like 3 years late on having this conversation. So who can you really be mad at other than yourself first? But the family dynamics are different. It's different, but I think it can work, but it will not work without boundaries. They have to set boundaries. There has to be a clear understanding on all parties. Everybody has to be able to express what their vision is for this family. If all 5 of y'all are a family, what is the vision for the family? What is supposed to happen, and how is that going to look moving forward? Otherwise, if they don't set that up now, it's just going to continue to be a breakdown. Listen to me sound like Ian Lur. All right, so that's pretty much it. But at the end of the episode, what I didn't understand, because I don't know if we had context for it, if I had just stopped paying attention by that point, there was a conversation that was taking place between Josh and Juliana, and they were talking about the breakdown between Peter and Juliana. And Peter walks in, and it's not confrontational or argumentative, but it's uncomfortable. And Josh ends up breaking down, and he says that when he sees Peter and Juliana arguing, it reminds him of his home life, or whatever it was that he went through when he was younger. And I think it's okay for Josh to express that, but I didn't think that was the right time. I felt like that conversation was supposed to be about Peter and Juliana, and he made it about himself. I'm not going back to watch the episode to see if I misread that, but that's how it looked to me. But they seemed to stop the conversation to console him, which for me, when the episode ended, they didn't seem like they had gotten anywhere from where they started. So that's the throuple. That's the throuple, PJJJ, All right, so V-Spa. So like I said, the ladies and Peter, they go to the V-Spa. The V-Spa is a place for vaginal steaming. Apparently it's a thing, and it's a thing that has great results. They say that when you get it steamed, it rejuvenates it. It plumps it up. It tightens, tones, and it's like a workout. Kegels. It's all of that. It does something special for it. It's like boiling rice. Plumps it on up, okay? So they're there to do that. And I guess they felt like the lingerie wasn't enough for Ty. So they was like, it's a bug in here. I'm at this place in my life now. When I kill bugs, I have to ask God for forgiveness. Because I feel like I might go to hell for killing this bug. And I don't have nothing close to kill it. Live, you got lucky today. So I guess they felt like the lingerie wasn't enough for Ty. So they said, we're going to take you here. We're going to get that thing steamed on up. I was about to make a whole bunch of jokes that probably been offensive to women, so I'm just gonna keep those to myself. But they're there and they're all having a conversation, and that is where Tayati is able to express to everyone what's been happening with her and Clinton, talk about nesting, explain what it is, and they can all have that dialogue back and forth. Like I said, Peter is there, and you know, when he was walking in, I was wondering, like, are we doing testicle steaming? Is that a thing? Are they making ball soup? Like what's going to happen here? But apparently it's something they have anal steaming. You know, my thing is completely off topic of this show. Who one day was standing over a pot of boiling water, male or female, whomever, was standing over this pot of water and was like, ooh, this is doing something to me. Let's make this a thing. I always wonder, how do people come up with this? Like, who was standing over that pot and said, this steam, I'm feeling rejuvenated. My vagina is really feeling rejuvenated. Let's do this professionally and charge people. Like, who came up with this? Boy, y'all, this is 2019, man. People just, hey, wow. All right, so the ladies are there. The men are at the cigar bar. I guess that's what some men like to do. They like to smoke cigars with whiskey. So while the girls are talking about everything that Tayati is going through, you know, I think they're talking about the bedroom stuff. The guys are talking about it as well. And that's when also Dink, number one, talks about their 48-hour rule. Clinton, who is Ursula's husband, talks about he gets it at least 5 days a week. They say Yandri gets it too much. David doesn't get it at all. And, oh, Josh wasn't there because I guess, is he not considered one of the guys? I don't know. All right, so that's pretty much, you know, what happens. Elaine does apologize to Ty about spreading her business. And that's pretty much it. Oh, one other thing we found out about the Dinks is Dink number two says she doesn't do number two or fart around him. And they've been together for 10 years. And I don't understand how you could be together for 10 years and not flagellate around the person. I mean, I was doing that when me and Carmen was dating. Like, I ain't about to be holding myself in, walking around like a balloon because I don't want you to smell my gas. It's gonna smell bad, but it'll go away. That's what air freshener is for. But I don't get it. I don't know why some women feel like, and I'm not making a general statement, I don't know why some women feel like it's nasty or inappropriate to do what's natural, you know, to fart, to take a dump around your spouse. They're your spouse, for better or for worse. That was in the worst part. If you looked in the book, flip to chapter number 2, it's in there. That's under the worst part. But yeah, they say they don't do that. So I think Elaine said that that's why all the air is going to somewhere. I should say the air is going somewhere. I think I'm starting to like Elaine. I think Elaine might be my favorite by the end of the season. You know, we only 2 episodes in. I think it was Juliana who said down in the comments that it's a 10-episode season. So, you know, we'll see. But, you know, to have it to hold, I'm about to say for better or for worse, to have it to hold is cool so far. You know, it's not a show that has me running to my TV, you know, at 10 p.m., but there's no reality TV show doing that anyway. But it's entertaining. I don't feel like they're making Charlotte look bad. I think they're a good look for Charlotte. I think it's good to see all of these business-minded, successful people that are representing Charlotte on national television. So I can't be anything but pleased about that. So, you know, shout out to the cast and the crew for the show. As I said last week, the show looks great. You know, aesthetically, it looks really, really good. Shot very well, and I'm very happy about that. And I'm glad I didn't see the metamorphosis statue this week on the show. So y'all let me know what y'all thought about To Have and To Hold Season 1, Episode 2, Three's a Crowd, because it is. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you have not, and share if you feel like it. You know, it's cool. And school is over, y'all. I don't know if y'all knew that, but the last day of school was last Friday. And this whole summer, I'll be finishing up my second book. Y'all can be on the lookout for the second book. Right now, I'm aiming for the first week of August release. We'll see what happens there. And then I have another announcement that I'll be making. If you follow my personal Instagram at Travis A. Thompson, then you already know what that announcement is. But, you know, we got big things brewing up in the Thompson household. But let me go ahead and get off here so I can go pick up Tegan, and I will talk to y'all later. Be safe, be cool, peace out.